Greetings, friends. It's me, Wayman. Hopefully you can hear me okay. My box, or my computer tower, has been running like a jet engine. I probably just need to clean it, like all the cat hair. But I wanted to come on because I just got done reading an awesome book. And I wanted to share a book review with you all. It's the Three Christs of Ypsilanti. It was excellent. This book, this is what I've been thinking. Religious people and belief systems have a hard time explaining to me why they believe what they believe. And even a lot of, they give answers, but I had to turn to social psychology to understand a lot of this stuff. Why people think the way they do, why a person would change their core or primitive beliefs, how does that happen, how do they reconcile conflicts, and how they view themselves in the world, how people maybe change identities in certain periods of their lives as they either think differently or are persuaded to think differently or change their primary source for information, of positive information. What is the positive idea of it? What is the negative? Who do they view as negative? And all that I find very interesting and have, if you've been watching a lot of my videos. So this is a Google upload. I don't know how long it's going to let me chat here, but I just wanted to go through and discuss some of the things that I found really interesting in the book, The Three Christs of Ypsilanti. And Mel's Basket Case uploaded this. She had this book, and I really hope she comes on and she sees this. I really want to know what she thinks about it. She read it probably about a year ago. And this is an introduction by Rick Moody. And the research was done by Milton Rokeach. I believe I pronounced that right. R-O-K-E-A-C-H. So I would suggest believers and non-believers alike to read this and really think about what he did here. Now, the afterword is very moving. I almost choked up reading it. There's been few cases where I got choked up reading. One was Chaucer's apology for writing the Canterbury Tales, very moving. And also here in the afterword, where 20 years later, Milton Rokeach apologizes in a way and feels terrible when he looks back at the research that he did and messing with the lives of these three people. But the information that he discusses in here, especially maybe not the examples can get kind of dry when they actually write letters to the men from their delusional primary sources or their positive source, and make suggestions on what to do, or make suggestions on things the men should believe or how they think, to see if those beliefs actually change. So he believes later that he himself was a fourth, as the researcher, a fourth Christ or a God, messing with these men. And he talks about how he came to feel bad about the whole process. But in here is a wealth of information, and this is what is interesting, and this is what I find fascinating. Christians, especially evangelicals, would tell you that salvation is free, just take it. And what they're doing, and what anybody who proselytizes is through persuasion, force you to have an identity confrontation. And that means everything. And there's even a song that goes with it. And while I was reading this book, The Three Christs of Ypsilanti, I happened to think of the song. You know, the place I used to go, I don't go there anymore. Since I've been born again, the things I used to do, I don't do them anymore. The things I used to say, I don't say them anymore. So you cannot tell me that salvation is free when it's a whole change in identity on who you are, a whole change of your positive source. And what you believed as the positive source then automatically turns into the negative source, and you start retaliating against that. Same thing when you're coming out of evangelicalism or a belief system into atheism. And I think if we better understand that process, better understand identity confrontations, we kind of have a better idea of what we're up against. So this creates a problem for evangelicalism and the recruitment of new members, because a lot of times the more conservative evangelicals are anti-intellectual, which I think is the biggest scandal of the evangelical mind. They leave it to emotion and feeling. Now, emotion does play a big role. I believe that today atheism minimizes the effects of emotion in order to be rational. They say, oh no, you got to throw it out. But you have to be passionate about something to pursue it. So emotion does play a huge role in how we view things and how we come to research things and how we come to look at things. You can't help it. We're human beings. And they've done studies where brain damage, where emotions are turned off. It's very hard to teach somebody whose emotions are turned off. But aside from that, I think that we need to better understand these identity confrontations as non-believers. So I leave the belief system, I have an identity confrontation, automatically what I used to be is now negative, and I retaliate against that. So with evangelicalism, as I said before, being anti-intellectual, the positive source is something different than the proselytizer. So an evangelical proselytizer comes up to me and starts telling me stuff to persuade me. I automatically believe, and I can tell by what they're saying 99% of the time that they don't have the education to persuade me to change my identity and to force me into an identity confrontation. Because people are going online to get their information. There's books concerning Christianity all over the place. We have access to that. We no longer have to rely on proselytizers as our primary source of positive information. So what is that? They turn to entertainment. They're filling the churches up. They turn to emotion. They turn to group inclusion. It's all part of it. And it's kind of like a computer system. Once you know all the parts, once you know all the materials, where all those materials come from, you can go and collect it, build your own system, put it all together, and have it work smooth. And you could give it to somebody. And music groups are doing this. Secular groups are doing this. Social groups are doing this. We do it all the time. We can't get out of it. And so this book totally blew my mind. And I got all excited about it. And I know so much more. And I learned so much more about the idea of rhetoric, persuasion, why people think the way they do, why people believe the way they do, and better ways of changing that. So Just because I find a belief system interesting, it doesn't mean I'm going to sign up. Just because I talk to you about something doesn't mean I'm trying to persuade you. I'm just trying to figure out how you got those primary beliefs, how they came about, how they change, why you think that way, how that impacts the world, how you view other people. It doesn't mean that I want to sign up. So people have impact on me. When better information comes, definitely I can be persuaded because the positive source changes. So I think that people need to be open to those sorts of things and not all the time deal with the differences. We need to understand the differences and why they exist and validate all assumptions. And sometimes it's hard work to do. Sometimes we might have to reconcile beliefs. Sometimes that's a cop-out. Sometimes we just might ignore it. That's a cop-out, maybe. And sometimes we need to go through and have identity confrontations. So I don't know, friends. Let me know what you think. This was an excellent book if you can pick it up. I know it was written back in the 60s, but it's all relevant, and I'm reading some more up-to-date books on that now. I'm reading the Social Animal and a few other books on social psychology. So once I get through all of that, what I want to do is go back and talk a little bit more about the street preacher that I met, Jesus George. He sent me some more CDs. Awesome. We've had some good discussions, having a coffee on lunch break. So, I don't know, friends. Take care. I know this is long-winded, but too bad. Be well. And if everybody's thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking.